Take a look at this. A microscopic image of tiny particles of pollen. You breathe it in every day. For some, it causes an allergic reaction, and for others, it could lead to asthma attacks and death.
Every year, this happens in the spring season, and it's getting worse.
Dr. Brian Seymour and his assistant, Jordan Oliver, a senior at Edward Waters University, are on a mission to find out what kind of pollen is flying in the air.
I'm standing on Edward Waters University's campus, which is also inside of Health Zone 1. They're studying the trees in this area, figuring out what type of pollen is coming off of those trees.
Health Zone 1 is in the core of Jacksonville. Dr. Seymour says 85% of African Americans tend to have a genetic predisposition to asthma, but it's not typically triggered until they are exposed to toxins. An adverse reaction to pollen can trigger allergies, asthma attacks, and even death. Once a week, Dr. Seymour and Oliver climb a ladder to the roof of a dorm on EWU's campus to collect new data on pollen.
And it works like a clock.
They remove the rotator drum with a new one and take the old one back to the lab for analysis. The drum has 1 week of pollen collected. Then the pollen is examined under this microscope. The pollen is highlighted with a pink dye. Dr. Seymour can see the difference in each pollen type. The black dots are toxic particles in the air. We are breathing all of this.
All this is junk.
Dr. Seymour believes this contributes to high rates of allergy and asthma in Health Zone 1.
We would like to end the disparity that exists in our community, specifically with respect to allergy and asthma.
Pollen collection is possible through a grant that will end in 2 more months. Dr. Seymour is hoping for an extension because monitoring this tiny particle can help prepare the many people that become miserable and sick. Dr. Seymour is asking for an extension to continue this study. Again, EWU is only one of 3 locations in the state that actually has a monitoring system. Miami and Tampa have the other units.
Janice, you are a meteorologist here at Channel 4. You have unique perspective on this. And we always hear that after it rains, pollen kind of goes away, but you say it all depends on the type of pollen.
Yeah, it depends on the type of pollen, and it's so interesting. Actually, in meteorology, there aren't really a lot of studies that focus on pollen or us forecasting pollen. We're more focused on the weather. But when it comes specifically to before and after rain, Dr. Seymour explained how pine pollen is actually too big initially to get into your respiratory system, but after it rains, it can be more of a problem. However, cedar and oak, he said, can get into the deeper lower respiratory system as he described it. And most of the tree pollen is produced during the winter going into spring season, like we are right now. And fall pollen, that'll be grass, ragweed is what you're experiencing in the fall.
Yeah, we know when it's happening. Right about
right now.
It's happening right now.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.